What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Hops Geek News, your home for comic books, movies, TV shows, and typically we feature a beer of the week. I am Matt. Alongside me, as always, is Scarlet Witch, aka Lauren, as always, bringing you the brains of the podcast. Right, today's episode, if you have not kind of guessed yet or saw the title, it's going to be all about Agatha because next week we are going to celebrate the episode, finally, the release of Agatha. And so we're going to talk a little bit about her comic book origin, some stories that she might have been in, and get you prepared for the September 18th release. So with that said, please go ahead, go to Hops Geek News and follow our links, all that good stuff. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification button so that way the podcast can grow. And if you absolutely want to support the show, by all means, patreon.com/Hops Geek News. And for just $1 a month, you could support the Geeks Crew. Or if you don't like commitment, I don't like commitment, you can always opt to buy us a beer, send us, 50 cents, whatever you want on PayPal. It sounds like we're in that Sarah McLachlan commercial whenever I have to go ahead and say it that way. But, we got some things that we got to go out there. And so this is your first time joining us. Thanks for hanging out with us. We typically talk beer of the week. We talk about what we might have messed up on and or looked into. Then we go into some what we're reading, watching, news, and then our main topic. So Lauren, why don't you go first? What are you drinking?
I am drinking a beer called Bad Nina Pale Ale from Attic Brewing Company. So this is actually up in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And
Ooh.
I actually did not go to this brewery, nor did I get this beer, but my daughter went on a school trip there recently and brought me this beer back for Mother's Day. So this is the last of the 4-pack. And I chose this one because it's got a cute little dog on it. And, Agatha in WandaVision, she killed Sparky. So this is, pour one out for Sparky.
She did. She did. She did some things, man. We're going to go ahead and remind you a little about what happened in WandaVision as well. Don't worry if you're not up to speed. We got you. Maybe you haven't remembered because it's been a good minute, honestly,
Yeah.
since that
Yeah,
came
that was
out.
our first post-COVID Marvel
Oh, yeah,
anything.
you're right. It was. That's right. And honestly, man, still one of probably my favorite Disney show that has come out. Still the best. It holds up. And,
Yeah, we'll definitely get to talk some WandaVision.
speaking of WandaVision, I went ahead and picked an appropriate beer this week, sent to me by my parents out of Maine, specifically Lisbon, Maine, or should I say Skowhegan, Maine, excuse me. It's Bigelow Brewing's Dementia Dog. It is a IPA. It just says IPA, but it tastes a lot
Oh, we have
like a
dog
good
beers?
West Coast. We do. Dementia Dog. I mean, how could you not pick something with dementia? I mean, Wanda couldn't remember anything. And then, of course, Agatha was doing it all along. And so Dementia Dog is my beer this week. It's really
Oh,
good. It's like a West Coast, like I said, I like West Coast IPAs.
West Coast IPAs, when done right, are so freaking good. I haven't had a
Yeah.
good West Coast in a minute. This is actually quite fantastic.
Oh, and your Pim glass too?
I feel like
Okay.
it. Yeah, so I have the Pim glass because obviously Jimmy Woo was in this, which here's
Yes.
a random fun fact about Jimmy Woo. So I started reading this book. I'm not going to go into it until I finish it, and then I'll put it on what we have read or watch. And it's about different Marvel comics, and it got to the part about it's talking about like pop culture influencing the comics and the major comics and Marvel kind of thing. And it said Shang-Chi was not the first Asian superhero; it was Jimmy Woo. He
It
was the first
was.
Asian Marvel superhero. I didn't know that. I thought it
I
was going
didn't
to say
actually know that
Quake.
either. Interesting.
So the
That's pretty
actress who
cool.
plays Quake, there was a picture. I don't know if you remember when
Mhm.
Simu Liu got cast for Shang-Chi. The two of them posted a picture, and she was like saying like, no,
Oh,
she
yeah,
was
yeah,
the
yeah.
first Asian superhero in the MCU,
I
which I thought was
do.
awesome because I love her. We still need Quake. That's one I'm still holding out for.
We
I
do.
got
You
my
know what?
Wolvie, so I'm not going to complain.
That's right. You can't complain, but I'm going to complain that we
No,
still haven't gotten Shang-Chi 2 yet because good Lord, man. Like, what is whatever. Anyways, some things that
passing
we are
though.
following up on. Lauren, go ahead. What is going on with Deadpool and Wolverine since we've kind of been tracking it lately?
I have. I don't know what's wrong with me. I feel like I'm probably checking
This
more than
is
they
this
are.
is
Just
your thing. Nobody cares but Lauren, and so everybody just
no.
fast forward through this. It's okay. I don't blame
It's
you.
just so crazy the records it's breaking. It is now number 23 all-time highest grossing
Michael
movie.
Jordan, baby.
This is yeah, right, yeah. But this is right behind Frozen, but it's also it's
I'm surprised
highly
Frozen's that
surpassed The
low
Last
for how
Rated R
popular
Woman.
Frozen is.
Well, I mean, I feel like a lot of the movies though are probably making more money now based on how much it costs to go to the movie. So I'm sure there's some
True.
impact in that. But I did see today, I'm not going to report this as news yet, but it looked like we might be getting streaming in October for Deadpool and Wolverine. But
Ooh.
until I see a reputable source report that, I'm going to hold on
Yeah.
to that. But I'm sure it'll be you have to buy it at first. I don't think it's going to be on Disney Plus.
I'm pretty stoked for that. I can't wait. My kids keep asking. I'm like, you guys think you're gonna watch that? But of course, somebody already went. But neither here nor there. As always, though, because October is a good big month, besides, the day that I grace this planet with my presence. And I'm actually gonna be going to Orlando. The flights have been booked, so we're gonna be doing some things at the weekend before Halloween, which gets me all in the mood of festivities.
That's
We
gonna be so
also
spooky.
yeah, have Hops Geek Booze for Haley. If you have not been following, that is our 5K run for charity. Specifically, it's something that hits closer to home for Lauren because one of her friends, her daughter passed due to pediatric cancer. And so what we're doing is this is our run group. We're raising money to help combat and fight pediatric cancer. You can sign up, you can walk a 5K, you can run a 5K. Hell, I don't even care if you lie and say you did it. If you sign up by October, you can go ahead and you're going to get a medal sent to you. But more importantly, like it's it's a donation. That's all it is,
Mhm.
and it's going to go towards a really good cause, which is child cancer, man. Like that's what it's
Shitty.
about. It sucks. And if you sign up and join our run group, we're gonna pick a random person from that list, and you're gonna get a little something cool in the mail. So help do that. The link for that is in the show notes. Please go ahead and do that. And then we're going to go into what we have been reading or watching. I have been reading, first of all, Vampiro Rockabilly. It's from Michael Kingston. I talked about it on Turn a Page for Nerd Initiative this past week with actually Michael Kingston and Ken and crew. But it's based on a luchador wrestler, Vampiro. He is a rock and roll superstar. He's a ghost, but turns out he's a vampire. He's battling demons, and he meets Everett along the way, who wants him to come on his podcast. It was really funny. And so like things ensue from there. And it's a very, very, very good comic book, especially if you like wrestling. I know who Vampiro is. He's in it, but more importantly, like vampires battling demons, like I don't want to give any more away. You gotta check this book out. It is going to be coming out. The final order cutoff was this past Sunday, so yesterday, unfortunately. However, it will be gracing your comic book stores in October. And what better way to get into the festive, spooky mood than reading that? And then the only other comic book I actually read this week, because I just been really busy, haven't had a lot of time to do a lot of reviews or read comic books. I did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #2 by IDW Publishing. Jason Aaron's been writing that one. This one focused on Mikey. He is a Japanese television star. He's in like some, show fighting fake ninjas and all of that stuff. That's his life now. That the turtles have split up, and these issues so far are following along like what's going on in their lives. But it's really good, man. It's kind of dark. The coloring and all of that was just so good. Raphael Albuquerque and Myello, they both absolutely crush it with the coloring and the art. There's a texture to like the turtle's skin that just pops off the page, which is really good. And it's a very more adult themed Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle book. Cannot recommend that one enough. And then all I've been watching is I didn't catch up, but I did watch episode 2 of season 4 of Only Murders in the Building.
So I'm caught up in Only Murders and you're not. Oh, how the
Yeah,
tables have turned.
I know I haven't had time, man. I will catch up this week before next week, but I will say episode 2, it ended it's I just can't get enough of how clever the writing in this show is, and the plot has thickened, and there's characters that got
Dun,
introduced.
dun.
If you don't like pink eyed, look away. But it's just funny how they're staring at each other, all sorts of things. Of course, there's a lot more personability between Charles and Zaz, and I love the character development in this one too. They're still finding ways to develop these characters and move the story along, and I'm just so in the bag for this, man. It's such a good show. So that's what I've been up to. Lauren, what do you have this week?
So the comic book I reviewed, I only did one review this week. It was Wolverine from the Ashes, A New Beginning.
Wow,
Uh,
you did a Wolverine comic. Color me shocked.
I know, right? I really wanted to, get outside my comfort zone and do something new, so I decided to go with Wolvie. It's written by Saladin Ahmed and Martin Coccolo. So they're doing all these sorts of new beginning ones, and this one takes place before the new X-Men and the new Uncanny X-Men. Wolvie's in the Canadian wilderness, surrounded by snow. He's got a pack with him, and of course, his past catches up with him, the good past and the bad past, and it is exactly what you would expect from a Wolverine comic. But I will say the past that caught up with him that's bad, I did not expect. I'm going to put it out. I
I
expected
feel like
Sabretooth.
that's
It's
been the
not Sabretooth.
same exact story
Right, that
for
does
how
happen a lot,
long
but
now?
it's not Sabretooth though, so it's a different
Okay.
villain that, like, I don't know that I've ever seen. This villain's been around, he's been around since the '90s, but it's not a villain I'm really familiar with, so I was like, "Oh, well, this is fun," and of course, the artwork's fantastic. You got the snow can create, like, these amazing atmospheres where, like, it can either be calming and beautiful, or it can be terrifying and deadly.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun. They're starting all these new stories, and I'm here for all the Wolverine stories. Another book I read, I'm actually going to pull it up. I have it right here, is the comic book story of beer.
Oh, there's a comic
So
book?
it's a comic book. When I was in Madrid, so before we met up with you in Spain, we were at that bee bar place that had really good beer,
Oh,
and we
yeah,
were
yeah,
hanging
yeah.
out looking around, and we saw this in English, and I asked, the bartender, is it okay if we pull the book down and look at it? She's like, yeah, that's fine. So we pulled it down and looked at it. I commented about it. I think I took a picture of it with my beer and put it on Instagram. My mom bought it for me for my birthday. So it's
Oh, that's
actually a
cool.
lot of fun. Anybody who is into beer a little, but maybe not like in the industry, it is such a good, just like touching on the basics of beer, but it covers goddesses, it covers brewing, it covers the types of beer, it covers prohibition. So, but it dabbles in all of it. Like, it doesn't go into super detail anything. So it's a lot of fun. It even mentions like the 3-tier system and all this. So, sorry, Josh is FaceTiming me. Apparently he doesn't know I'm podcasting.
Josh, what are you
It's a lot
doing?
of fun. If you like beer and you like comic books, I can't recommend the comic book story of beer enough. The world's favorite beverage from 7000 BC to today's craft beering revolution.
Oh,
And
you
it is on
reminded
our
me.
Instagram already because I posted it Saturday morning.
I did get a comic book. I'm going to go see my favorite band ever, Under Oath, on Wednesday, and they did a comic book for their 20th anniversary of They're Only Chasing Safety, and I did get that comic book in vinyl in this week. So I'm going to probably do a special video reviewing that, but it's really rad so far, and that reminded me of that. Sorry, I'm done.
No, you're good. And then I watched the show Chaos. Have you heard of
Oh
this on
yeah,
Netflix?
I Carrie's been watching it. I was like, I don't really care to watch it, but Carrie's been watching it, and she said it's hilarious and really good.
Yeah, so if anybody, I messaged Kaylee because I was certain Kaylee had heard about it. And anybody not familiar with my daughter, like, she's a history major. She's been into Greek
Oh
mythology
yeah.
forever. She loves Rick Riordan. So this is right up her alley. So it's modern day Greek mythology. It is a series on Netflix. I think there's 8 episodes maybe. And I hope they do a season 2. It's kind of one of those, like, oh, they could definitely keep going, or they could end it there, kind of like Dead Boy Detectives, but I hope they keep going. But Zeus is Jeff Goldblum. So right off the bat, you know that this is going to be entertaining. Hera is the scary attorney lady from Ozark. I know she's in other stuff too, but that's always what I see her as, is the scary attorney lady. And it's a lot of fun. And basically, the gods aren't the best. The gods are lying to them, but people know about the gods and they pray to the gods and they do sacrifices to the gods. And, Hades is in there, but Zeus is just a jerk. Zeus is basically Jeff Goldblum's character from Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, that's cool. I did know that
That's
he
the
played
kind of
Zeus.
vibes
Yeah.
I get.
Oh, I kind of figured I had that vibe just because when you like Jeff Goldblum playing Zeus, I was like, oh, I kind of got the feeling I know how his character will be played. So, but that's not a bad thing. God, it's never a bad thing for Jeff Goldblum to be in the mix for anything.
Yeah. So if you like Greek mythology, if you like Jeff Goldblum, yeah, check it out. It's because at first I thought, like, oh, it's modern day, but then the people know the gods and they know
Ooh.
certain things, and so yeah, it's good. I recommend it.
Maybe I'll get to it at some point. Maybe since Carrie's watching it, so that's kind of cool. Let's roll into some news. Breaking news, not really breaking news, but Dave Grohl is having a baby with a 20-year-old. So
With a 20-year
however,
old,
with a 20-year-old, however bad your week is going, it's not going as bad as maybe his week. I don't know. I just think it's funny because everyone's so shocked that Dave Grohl, cheated on his wife. I'm like, dude, honestly, he's a rock star. Like,
but he's
I don't
older than
care.
I am.
I
I didn't
also
know she
don't.
was 20.
I don't. I mean, that's a little. That's more than a little weird, Leo DiCaprio. But overall, it's like he he's not hurting people. Well, he emotionally hurt maybe some people, but
Well, we don't know this situation. Who knows? They could have an open
he's not
marriage. Who the hell knows?
racist outwardly and killing people. So it's like, man, it's not my business. I just love that. That's like the big news this week. Besides,
Well, he
eating.
came out and posted it, but yeah, I don't
He
really
did.
follow
Well, it's
him.
because the tabloids. But aside from
Yeah,
people
beat him to
eating
the punch. Yeah.
animals, Back to the Future 2 is going to be back in theaters October 19th and 21st to celebrate its 35th anniversary. There will be a Jaws 19 trailer and a commercial for a hoverboard. That's
I
pretty
really want to
rad.
see this Jaws 19 trailer.
I do too. It's going to be online. You know it's going to come out, but
Yeah.
I love that they put like these older movies back in theaters for people who like never got to experience it, because I feel like sometimes these movies were made for theaters. So getting to see them on the big screen is always like a really cool thing to me.
Yeah, I never saw any of them in theater, and Back to the Future 2 is my favorite one, and it's especially funny now that it's
Yeah.
after 2015 and we see how wrong everything was. So
Mm.
the Beetlejuice writers, Alfred Goh and Miles Millar, are working on turning the Image comic Ice Cream Man into a show. Now, I know you've read this.
I'm really big on this comic book. It's an anthology series, so you can just pick it up at any point in the comic. It is super, super good. If you love horror comics, Ice Cream Man is one of the best out there. They're on like 40 something issues. Dude, it is so good. It's like body horror, creepy grindhouse horror. It's like a blend. So, like I said, anthology, but there is one common character in all, who's the Ice Cream Man in every issue. And dude, it's so trippy. It is so good. I am super freaking excited to see this come to life, because I was pitching a show. If you look back on our episodes, it had to be a year or two ago. There was a point where I was like, dude, why is nobody writing this into a TV show yet? It had to have been like summer of 22, 23. It's out there somewhere. I was pitching a TV show for this, so somebody must have heard it. Clearly, I'm taking credit. Thank you.
Good job, Matt. I can't wait to watch it.
That's
I
right.
should actually today I picked up volume 5 and 6 of Something's Killing the Children. Maybe I'll have to read Ice Cream Man because they're making all of these amazing comics into shows, and I want to read all of them first.
Yeah, this is the first time that they dropped issue number 1 in like 5 years, re-released it too. And again, yeah, Netflix series, which means it's going to get canceled after like 2 seasons, but you know what?
Ugh.
Hopefully the 2 seasons we get are great. I'm really excited for that.
At
Something's
least
killing the
these
children.
Netflix shows are giving us closure, even if they don't want to. Like Dead Boys Detective,
Are
there
they?
was
Because I'm still mad about Santa Clarita Diet.
that. Well, that's what I'm saying.
I'll
Now they
never
are
let
like
that
Santa
one go.
Clarita Diet. Like that was a cliffhanger and a half.
I
Like
will
that was
never
like
let that go.
because the way they ended it was like, oh, next season's going to be the best season yet.
Yeah,
Like you can
Timothy
only go up
Oliphant
from
became a
here.
zombie, and then it just like, oh nope, it's canceled. And you're just like,
And didn't
what
he
the
end it with like hello? And like he was all like, we're like,
yeah.
oh, this is gonna be fun.
Stupid,
Those
stupid.
sons of
But
bitches.
speaking of things that have kind of been cliffhanging, if you have the high ground, you'll be able to see Ewan McGregor get
I
his
was like, where's he going with this?
star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and Hayden Christensen will be there getting a speech. I'm kind of surprised that he doesn't already have a star. Like when they announce somebody getting a star, most of the time I'm like, wow, I kind of assumed that they already did, but no, he hasn't. And Ewan McGregor's finally going to get his. So good for you, Ewan.
And Carl Weathers is finally getting his after he
Yeah,
has
how does he not have
passed.
his star? Like it shouldn't take somebody
I
passing
don't know.
away
It's
to,
kind
I don't
of
know, man.
yeah. Even like Carrie
Don't you
Fisher
have to
had already
pay?
passed.
I think you have to
I,
pay to like get your star. I don't know. There's something about that that I'm like, they're not really honoring you. It's, I don't know. I'll have to look into it.
well, now I'm
But
curious, but I feel like that's something you should get to do when you're alive. Like it looks like it's like a fun event, like the Kevin Feige one. Like a
it
lot of the
does.
Avengers came out. Like that was really cool.
Macaulay Culkin. Like his
Yeah,
is
he
a
had
really
his
big
like
event.
wife and
Like,
kids out there.
yeah,
Yeah.
Brenda Song. Everybody knows her from the Disney. Daryl Dixon. It's coming
I'm
back on
so
AMC
excited about
in
this.
AMC Plus September 29th. Season 2 will be called The Book of Carol. You are excited about this because you liked the first season.
I did like the first season. I didn't love it. The show I want more of is the Rick and Michonne show, but that wouldn't necessarily make as much sense because like Daryl's story's not over. And
None of
now
it
I'll
makes
say it
sense.
because based on the title of season 2, it's very clear. Like there was a cliffhanger at the end where Carol was going to go look for Daryl. So that I wasn't going to say that before, but it's in the fucking title of season 2 and they're promoting it. So we'll
Surprise.
see. It should be good. I think this time instead of paying for AMC Plus, I will probably just wait for Netflix. So
Yeah, that
Handmaid's
makes sense.
Tale has begun production on its 6th and final season, which
Let's
that
hope
will
it's the
of course
final
be on
season come
Hulu.
election season. Wink.
Yeah, that show gives me anxiety. I don't know why I watch it. I
That's
started it
because
like
it's too
Logan was a
close to real
baby.
life.
Yeah, it's gotten scarier and yeah, 100% that. But also it's like when I first started it, Logan was a baby. So I'd be sitting there like nursing Logan and watching this, and these babies are being ripped away from their mothers. And I'm like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. No,
yeah.
it's I always like hate when things involve kids, like horror movies involve kids and they put them in danger, because that's the one, like me, adults, I don't care if an adult gets killed. But if you start putting kids in danger, that's the surefire way to raise my anxiety levels, man. I'm
But see, the
just
older my kid gets, the higher like, the last time I watched Scream, and they're college kids, and I have a college kid, so now I view the college kids in that realm of
oh.
kids. So it's like my threshold for like,
But I
this
feel
is
like
too
Kaylee's too
stressful."
smart to be in those situations. Kaylee's the one. She's the final girl, dude.
A
Something
hun
about Kaylee's badass. She's 100%
She's
a
the main
final girl.
character.
Oh, without a doubt. Kaylee's the one that she's too smart for that. But speaking of death, we had a couple deaths this week. James Earl Jones unfortunately passed away at the age of 93. He was in just about every movie he narrated so many things, Star Wars. We kind of celebrated his life on our Cantina Hour. So if you want to go back and listen to that, do so because he's in so many movies, man. And then also John Cassidy, he's a comic book creator. You might know him from things of Superman, Batman, the Hulk, the Avengers, Teen Titans, Alpha Flight, Union Jack, just to name a few. He unfortunately passed away this week too at the age of 52, and that's incredibly young, especially in this day and
Mhm.
age.
And
And
I
he
don't
was
think they said how.
no, we don't know how, but he acts absolutely was a fantastic comic book creator. And then also Peter Renaday, who was the original voice of Master Splinter from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, has also passed away. Um, it's one of
The
those
good
things,
ones
man.
go in
Like
threes, man. It's so
it
weird how that
is,
always seems to
they all
happen.
happened like one day, like after another. It was like all
Right.
within 2 days of each other. And the only thing that sucks is like, you take the good people that we all love, and then you leave the shitty ones behind. Um, maybe
Only
that's
the
just
good
the
die
universe
young.
trying to tell us something, but it is,
Yeah.
and it's just we can always remember them through their works of art, fortunately. And it's
Well,
all about celebrating life.
yeah, and I know a lot of people are like, "Well, how can you be upset it's a celebrity? You don't know them." And I get that. It's not gonna impact my day to day. But I think it's also just like a reminder of like, your childhood and your own mortality with some of these things because I don't think there's a person out there who can't name a movie that they watched when they were younger that James Earl Jones wasn't in it, whether it's voice or in person. Like, I mean,
Exactly.
he's you can't go to Disney without hearing him in Star Wars or Lion King. Like,
Star Wars, Lion King, Sandlot, and then he narrated so many things that you didn't
how
even
could he
realize.
not with that
That
voice?
voice, yeah,
Him and
and
Morgan Freeman, man. Mm.
yeah, yeah, and then this last piece of news, Lauren, this affects you. What's going on with Good Omens season 3?
Yo. So I'm not following it exactly. I'm really just following the production of the show. Good Omens season 3 has apparently had more than one woman come forward talking about Neil Gaiman and accusing him of sexual assault. Whether or not that's true, we do not know. However, they've paused filming for season 3 because of this. Neil Gaiman has since said, "I'm going to step aside so that production can continue." I always want to believe the victims. I don't know what's going on. I hope that he is innocent because he makes innocence or nobody's innocent. I hope that he's not guilty because he makes content that would surprise me, but also it wouldn't surprise
Does
me at all because you don't know anybody.
It is very
So,
surprising in a way of like he seemed to be very progressive in
mhm.
a way that you're like the things that he writes is like very
Yeah,
anti
he
that.
seems like he would
And
be a
so
good
to
guy, yeah.
right, and so to come out and be like, maybe not, it sucks, man. It's that glass shattering, and you hope
Right.
it's not true, but also like, yeah, I mean, you don't want to discredit the victims, and
Mhm.
they obviously maybe they. It's one of those things, right? It's such a double-edged sword because there's a lot of people that they may have gone through something that has really traumatized them, and then maybe the other end. So like, I don't know the story. I'm not going to pretend to know the story.
I know, I
I'm not
haven't
going to
researched any of it.
I'm not gonna sit here
This
and
is
say
just an
he's
update
innocent,
on
he's
Good Omens.
guilty. Um, hopefully this gets settled one way or another. If he's guilty, then you know what? Maybe he's a piece of trash,
Pay
then
your
he needs to go.
consequences.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pay your consequences, get out of here. Um, and we'll just kind of leave that at that. I don't know enough, but I know Good
But
Omen season 3, and like, hey, you know what? I did
yeah,
production.
it's
He's done a lot.
I know.
So
And
um,
season 2, the way season 2 ended, it was like, "No, like, come
yeah,
on." So I'm so ready for season 3. And obviously David Tennant and the other guy whose name I always forget, it's Michael
I always
something. They're
forget him. Yeah,
so good together on and off camera, and so we need more of them. And with the amount of money they put into these Prime shows, I'm sure they're gonna do whatever they can to get the money out of it. But Good Omens season 3 is up in the air at the moment. Hopefully it continues soon. And that's all we got this week,
yeah.
kids.
Well, you know what? Let's go into some Agatha. Let's dive into the world of Agatha
Hit
Harkness.
it.
We will be back in just a moment to dive into her backstory. So, Agatha Harkness. First of all, I messed up because I drank a beer last year called Persephone Witch from Tradition Brewing, and that would have been a perfect beer for this episode, but I did not get it. And so I didn't fail because Dementia
You know,
Dog is just as good, but like I do
why
feel
when
like
I
I
was
missed a
looking for
moment.
a glass, I'm like, how do I not have a witch's is or brewing glass or something? Because that
Yeah,
is like one of
right?
my favorite like urban legends that witches
I'm
were actually
literally from
brewers.
Massachusetts. How do I not have more like witch trial shit? I don't know.
I
Uh,
even went into the Halloween glasses. I'm making one this year. I do have a little hat. I pulled this out of the
ooh,
Halloween decorations.
ooh, I'll
I
get you,
usually
my pretty. I still don't
okay.
understand how she's supposed to be the good guy. It's been explained to me 75 times, but she tried to steal
Oh, and
Toto.
Wicked?
Yeah, she
I
never
can tell you
went
what
back.
happens.
This
So
is
she okay, I'll go off
Don't
on a
worry.
tangent
We
then.
we will
Okay.
go on a Wicked episode in November because that movie's coming out. Let's talk about Agatha though, because that's what we came
Okay.
here for. Agatha is a witch who first appeared in the Fantastic Four issue number 94 in March of 1969. So she's been around a hot minute. In the comics, she looks less like Catherine Hahn, who is ageless and gorgeous. And honestly, I always think about her in Step Brothers. And so to see how she has evolved from the girl who's peeing in a urinal to where she's at now is kind of always funny to
She's
me.
always horny though. She always plays a horny
Yeah,
character. Even
she
Agatha
does.
was.
She
It's not
does.
her fault she has an extra high libido.
Ralph
I
Boner,
rewatched
man.
WandaVision this past week.
But she looks much more like an older version of the evil stepmother from Cinderella in the comics, complete with a cat and all. And she was actually created by Jack Kirby and Stan Lee,
So the cat's name is Ebony, and she's actually a familiar, which I believe we both learned about in that very creepy supernatural episode where
where
the
she
witch
was
dude was
banging
sleeping with
her.
his
Yeah.
familiar dog. Yeah. Ebony can become a much bigger cat though when necessary.
Oh. Agatha has actually been around since the Salem witch trials, which we talked about. Which, first of all, guys, if this is your first time tuning in, I'm going to remind you all that the Salem witch trials actually took place in Danvers, Massachusetts, not Salem, Massachusetts, as it's so most commonly known for. Also, don't recommend going to Salem, Massachusetts in the fall time until after Halloween because it's just full of tourists. I mean, if that's your thing and you want to see it all, by all means, like put
And
up
be
with it.
in
It's
it,
like
yeah.
going to
It's
Disney
like
World, it's you're gonna fight the crowd, but it is very
I
much
was gonna
worthwhile.
say Times Square on New Year's Eve.
That too, like it's very packed, it's very busy. One of my coolest memories was watching the reboot of Halloween before it got bad in a theater in October with Charlie in Salem, which is really cool. But Salem's really great. It's a great town, a lot to do there. So if you need recommendations, man, I got you. Hit us up. But you're not
Well,
here
we
for
got
that.
Lawson's like one of their beers like right before we did a witch tour there.
Yeah,
The
you
witch
can do.
tours, I would say, I know we talked about it because I went last year, but I thought that they did the witch tour very nice. Like they did the spooky element, they incorporated
Mhm.
Hocus Pocus, and it ended with like kind of like a moment of silence for these women that were murdered because that's
Yeah.
what they were. They were murdered. And they have like,
Witch.
a whole area where it's like a stone for each woman with their name. It has some of their quotes, like the last thing they said before they hung. Like it's very sad, but I
Yeah.
think that they do it in an entertaining but kind of
Well,
tasteful way at the
oh,
same time.
absolutely. It's a very dark, dark part of our history. I mean, American history
Yeah.
is not all rainbows, guys. Like it's a very dark and brutal history.
What?
I know,
We
right?
haven't been the good guys the whole time?
Are we the baddies? Speaking of bad guys, actually, funny enough, Agatha leans good more often than not. She has helped the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, and she did tutor Wanda to help her control her powers. And she's even listed as a Fantastic Four ally. Ooh.
So she ended up going or starting New Salem, Colorado. So that's kind of where she's from and where many residents there practice magic. She was the best at what she did there, much like Wolverine, best at what she does.
Hey,
But
wait a
she
minute.
strongly believed that witches and warlocks should be allowed to live among humans. Her son and others, however, did not agree with her so much. So she ended up leaving Colorado and moving to New York. There, she was hired by Reed Richards, aka Mr. Fantastic, and Sue Storm, aka Invisible Girl, as a governess for their son,
Ooh.
Franklin. A governess is just a fancy way of saying she was hired to teach a child in a home.
Oh, so
However,
she was a homeschool
Franklin,
teacher.
yeah, Franklin, though, was an infant. So really, she was just a nanny.
Come on, Reed. Reed and Sue, you had me going there for a minute. Now, the Fantastic Four actually reached out to her. She immediately accepted, as I probably would too. Shortly thereafter, the Frightful Four attacked unexpectedly and took down the Fantastic Four. But thank goodness, because they underestimated little old Agatha, who kicked their ass up and down that town.
Never underestimate an old lady. with a
Especially a
tippy tap.
witch who's been around forever.
Well, I don't think they knew she was a witch. So when Agatha left her son, he was not too happy with her. So he actually put her on trial for treason for this, and he kidnapped her and Franklin. He then turned his own offspring into the Salem Seven. They were to act as guards. This team consisted of Bruticus,
Ooh.
Hydron, Vacuum, Vertigo, Thorn, Reptilla, and Gazelle. Despite their best efforts, they were not able to stop the Fantastic Four from rescuing Agatha and Franklin. However, later on, they managed to burn Agatha at the stake, which she does come back. This caused her spirit to actually reach out to Wanda and Vision, who then came and battled with the Salem Seven, in which the Salem Seven died. Wanda, out of the kindness of her heart, then nicely resurrected them. Later on, when Wanda was fighting the Salem Seven, though, this is when she actually captures some energy during the battle and
Ooh.
funnels it in a way in an attempt to save New Salem, which did not happen. Wanda channeled that remaining energy, though, and that eventually led to her creating Tommy and Billy, her and Vision's kids.
Oh.
Agatha even at times babysat the boys, much like in the show.
Okay. I kind of hope we get something like that, like the Salem 7. I wonder if that's going to end up being the storyline they go with in Agatha. That would be
So I
so cool.
did go to IMDb page. I'm like, let me just see what some of the names are of these characters. And some of the characters aren't even named. Like the one
Well, I
guy's like
mean, yeah.
labeled teen. And then we do see like Deborah Jo Rupp and like the girl who was Dottie, whose name was actually Sarah. But
Oh,
they
yeah.
look like they're not going to be in the. I'm guessing they're only going to be in the first episode, where
Well,
that's like
IMDb is
set in
inaccurate
Westview.
because even the reactions haven't come out yet. They'll usually play this pretty close to the chest. But that would be really cool. I mean, yeah, isn't Aubrey Plaza's in this show too? Isn't
Yes,
she?
she is. Did you
I'm
ever watch
telling
the
you.
show Legion?
No, I never got into that one. I know what it is. I just never got into it.
Okay, so I started it, I didn't finish it. It was kind of one of those shows I felt like they were doing the same thing and they were just
Hmm.
taking too long. But she was in that, and like she was
Oh,
creepy in that, and I was like, how cool would that be if it? But I don't remember enough to even like connect the dots there. But I'm like, that would be cool if it was like a
I
now
don't
that
think
they're
Legion's gonna
combining all
have
these
anything to
things.
do with the MCU. Honestly, I think they're gonna
I
forget.
don't
That's one of the
either.
shows they're gonna forget about. But I think it would still be
I think
really
they
cool
already
if the
did.
Salem 7, yeah, is that I gotta really don't let this become my Mephisto. But anyways, speaking of Mephisto, when Wanda's sons vanish, she does go mad. They vanished because she had created them with pieces of a soul. She did this subconsciously because she wanted her and Vision to have a baby. In WandaVision, when Vision confronts Wanda, he says he believes she originally started controlling everybody subconsciously. Anywho, these pieces belong to Mephisto.
Dun dun
Aha!
dun.
Mephisto. Maybe we finally get Mephisto, folks. Here you go. That's why this character was predicted to show up in WandaVision, and it never did happen. Now, it's obviously become a running joke since then. Everybody, is this Mephisto? Is that Mephisto? Who knows? Maybe we'll finally get Mephisto. Take a drink every time we say Mephisto. So, Mephisto, haha, wanted his soul pieces back and took them, causing the boys to vanish. So at that point, Agatha, in an attempt to prevent a total breakdown, because that would have been really bad for Wanda and her magic's on the loose, the juice is loose, made her forget about them. However, the plot thickens because the Wasp accidentally brings those memories back because the Pims just continuously mess things up. Hank with Ultron, Wasp
They
with
make things
memories.
bigger than they should be. Get it?
Exactly. And that is actually a comic book origin story for a different day. So, got to tune in, folks. Maybe next time Wanda shows up in the MCU, since she's definitely not dead, we all know this. Like, there's no dead body. She's definitely coming back. It's been rumored. Elizabeth Olsen really wants to come back. Um,
We all want
who
her back.
knows? Wanda did murder Agatha, though. After learning that she had an involvement in her kids disappearing, she murders. It's kind of like Tony Stark tries to murder Bucky, understandably so. She's not Uncle Ben, so thankfully she does come back to Natalia, Wanda's mother. After coming back again, she returned to living on Wundagore Mountain. There, she kills Ebony as part of a ritual to see the future using the Wundagore Everbloom.
So Agatha once set out to make a new Darkhold, which was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., The Runaways, and it is what caused Wanda to go darkside in Doctor Strange, and we saw it in WandaVision. To do this, Agatha tricked the Scarlet Witch and started abducting heroes and putting them up against each other to determine who was worthy of chaos magic. So Agatha was then able to control Wolverine, Storm, Human Torch, Taiguchi, White Fox, Venom, and Cyclops through chaos magic. And I keep saying it like that because that is what Agatha said that that Wanda had when she said, I was not taught. And she's like, you're using chaos magic.
Yeah.
Um, and then, did I not put in Wundagore? If Wundagore sounds familiar and you're not sure why, that I could have sworn to Cheese and Rice. I must have deleted it. It was in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
That's where she
That's where
goes and
Wanda shows up, right?
yeah, and it has the
Yeah.
big like statue and it looks like her.
Mhm.
And then we see that in Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yes, we do.
So which was so I was like, oh, are we gonna see Wanda here?
You were sitting like,
yeah, everything was just a Leonardo DiCaprio moment. But so that's the mountain where she supposedly died. So it is a relevant area. Okay.
It is everything. It's working.
It all comes together.
It does. It does. Now, Agatha then takes these superheroes, which she was controlling, to an abandoned ship in the Bermuda Triangle where things mysteriously disappear. She has them fight demons that were trying to stop her from creating another Darkhold. They also had to fight off the Avengers, and during the ritual, the Avengers defeated Agatha, and she then washed ashore where she was approached by a young boy who is the human form of the Darkhold. Dun, dun, dun.
I think that's interesting when they do human forms of inanimate objects, like the TARDIS. I loved that, though, because then Amy Pond was like, did you just make a wish really hard? Okay, so some fun facts. Her powers, they're all magical, so they're endless. She can stop time, teleport, freeze people, not literally, more like what she did to Wanda in WandaVision, where she binded her. She can manipulate her surroundings, voice projection, flight, force fields, telekinesis. She can stop magic and spells, telepathy, etc. She's able to put objects and even whole cities into other dimensions, which is a skill only few witches have mastered. So there's a whole laundry list of things. How her magic works is different than Doctor Strange, but when I was reading it, I'm like, I'm not even going to try to regurgitate this. So if you're really that curious, the guy Comics Explained, we had him on a while ago. If you go search Comics Explained on YouTube and put on Agatha, you can learn exactly how the magic. I read it, I watched it, and I still forgot it. But it is different than Doctor Strange in a way. So she once taught a few classes at the Strange Academy, and she actually goes back way before. I did put it in here. Here it is. So she goes all the way back, like thousands of years before even the Salem witch trial, because she was well, I'm messing up my notes. Ignore me. Start over. Why don't you start us at the end of the 18th century during the American Revolutionary War? What happened then?
What happened during the American Revolutionary War? Well, funny enough, Harkness joined the Daughters of Liberty, a group of women fighting for justice in the New World. She used her centuries of knowledge to train them in the mystical arts. She once used not Benjamin Franklin, I'm sorry. I saw Franklin's, I got excited. She once used Franklin's powers to destroy Ultron, and she's actually over 12,000 years old. She remembers 500 years before Atlantis sunk, and in the 2022 comic book Midnight Suns, had Agatha wind the clock centuries back. So it allowed her to become young again when she took the powers from Karina, who was a fellow witch and now looks super hot instead of looking like an old evil stepmother. So today she is a baddie, and she's not old. She looks more like Catherine Hahn, who was also a baddie.
I mean, they seem to do that. There are Wolverine comics where it looks more like Hugh Jackman. Although I will say Wolverine has not gotten taller in the comics, I don't think. They still always draw him pretty short. Okay, so WandaVision. So Agatha actually first introduces herself as Agnes in episode 1, which is actually Paul Bettany's daughter's name. Everybody was predicting right away she was going to be Agatha, so nobody was surprised when she was. Originally, when they announced the Agatha show, they kept changing the title. Was Agatha House of Harkness, Agatha Coven of Chaos, Agatha Darkhold Diaries, and Agatha the Lying Witch with Great Wardrobe, which was my personal favorite. And
I do love that one.
It was all a bunch of bullshit. It is now Agatha all along.
I do love that they kept changing the name up as like a way to troll it, because everyone was like, "Why?" Everybody thought there were such issues with this, and they were like, "Oh my god." The MCU is falling apart. They can't even get their names right. And it turned out that they were just trolling the whole time. Or maybe they played it that way. They really didn't have a title. And they played it off like they were just kidding.
I mean, if they rolled into their own mess up, like I almost respect that even more. Sometimes
I do too, man.
Mess up, it's how you handle the mess up. But
no, I thought landing.
It kept people engaged too to the show before it even started.
Well, I think that's the other thing too, is I think they started to do that because it kept getting kind of delayed and we didn't know when it was coming out. So how do you keep people talking about it, right? You keep changing the title. And so then
Yeah.
they kind of like keep it relevant and get the excitement building. That's I mean, that in its own right is really smart.
Yeah, for sure. But The Lying Witch and the Great Wardrobe was just like, I was like, there's no way that's actually the title.
No.
But I didn't know they were messing with us before that at all. So this is the first live action MCU project where the main character has actually never had their own comic. So I thought that was
Oh,
interesting.
that's pretty
All right.
cool.
There will be a total of 9 episodes, 2 premiering on September 18th, then every Wednesday until the Wednesday after Halloween.
Okay,
Where did we last see Agatha?
are we gonna watch that one episode? The penultimate episode? Are we gonna watch it together? Neither of
Oh,
us are
I
gonna
guess
be
we
able to
could.
wait. We could. We'll see. Let's not make commitments, folks. All right, let's not make commitments. Now, the last time we did see Agatha was in Westview, New Jersey, where she had been spying on Wanda and messing with her to learn how she was controlling the town. Upon learning she had no training and did not even intentionally create the town, she realized she was practicing chaos magic, which makes Wanda the Scarlet Witch. Wanda then defeats her by casting ruins in the hex over Westview, a trick she actually learned from Agatha. She then makes Agatha think she is just a nosy, horny neighbor who lives in Westview. And that is where we will be picking up in the TV show. I'm pretty excited. Pretty excited.
I'm excited too. I kind of wish that it was all going to be in October.
I do too. Like, I'm glad. Was it last? It wasn't last year that we got Werewolf by Night. Was it? It was 2 years ago.
No, that was 2 years ago, I think.
Time flies, man. I would love Marvel to keep having like Halloween type shows come out or something like
Or
that.
even
Special
Christmas, like we got
presentations.
Hawkeye, we got Guardians
Yeah,
of Christmas.
like I like lean into that a little bit more, man. Like give us special presentations around the holidays because I feel like that's a cool like the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special was awesome. A couple of those songs, they are in my Christmas music rotation. I'm
Same. So
hoping
are the vault songs are in there too.
oh god,
Don't
yeah.
leave Christ at Christmas or whatever it is. I can't
I
wait to put on my
yeah,
Christmas playlist this year and hear that.
you just like it goes from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer to something about Homelander. Your kids are just screaming, crying, throwing up, and you're just
Oh,
like,
my
get
Christmas list
over
is
it.
all over. Well, because I have all the Nightmare stuff in there, and then I have,
Yeah,
yeah, Guardians, and we have some
it's all
Danish
over,
Christmas
man.
songs in
That's
there.
right. Yeah, dude,
So
I
much
just
fun.
think they need to lean in because you don't have to make everything a TV show. You can take and I really want some Werewolf by Night again. Moon Knight, Shang-Chi, like they've all been sitting there on the shelf. Like,
Well, and you
come
didn't
on.
need Guardians. It didn't necessarily set up
No, they didn't
season
really
or
do
the
anything.
3rd
Yeah.
movie, right. It was fun, okay, we know they're settled on nowhere, and we got to see, like, Star-Lord was dealing with stuff, but he was still dealing with it at the beginning of
Yeah.
Guardians 3. So, like, we didn't need that movie at all to make Guardians 3 so good, but gosh damn it, it was so fun. I just don't understand why they don't use those songs on Cosmic Rewind at Christmas. That makes no sense to me.
I mean, any Guardians, I mean, they must Disney, you have like a blank
Well, they did
check.
Run Run Rocket the first year, and people complained,
Right.
so last year, now there's no Christmas songs on Cosmic Rewind.
You
But I
know,
want an alien for Christmas would be perfect because it's fast pace. Want an alien for
or like
Christmas.
I don't know what Christmas is, but Christmas time is here. Like that's the
Oh, yeah,
perfect
and that's the original
that
one.
song's a
Veronica
bop. Like,
Arm.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know,
It's
man.
so cool.
I do like that Agatha, it's 9 episodes, so we get 9 weeks of this, or 8 weeks really with it 2 or 7 weeks? 7 weeks, right? Yeah.
I'm
I
bad
can't
at
do
math.
math. I don't know. I'm bad at math, guys. Whatever it is, it goes in September till October, ending at Halloween, which is it's cool. Yeah, that's great. I just want more special presentations because Marvel
Well, they
does have some
marketed it.
creepy stuff.
Yeah, one of the commercials was marketed it like Halloween, like
Were we getting like
about
a
the
Marvel
season.
Zombies TV show? Like, why couldn't that be something like a special presentation, an hour-long Marvel Zombies that for Halloween? That would have
Well,
been
and they
dope
had the
too.
Halloween episode for WandaVision, which is so great, such a great
Yeah.
episode, but that came out in,
And they
January,
had the original
February.
costumes and everything like that with
Yeah,
Wanda and Vision and everything. Yeah, dude, I don't know.
and Quicksilver.
It was Ralph Boner. God damn it. Um, but yeah, it would have been
So good.
awesome, man. I don't know, but next week we might be
We don't
talking
know.
Beetlejuice. Possibly. I'm gonna go see it finally
Oh, I
Friday.
erased when you wrote Beetlejuice. I was like, we already did Beetlejuice.
Yeah, no, we're gonna. So Lauren has seen Beetlejuice. I haven't yet. By the time this comes out, I should have already seen it. So I think maybe next week we're gonna talk Beetlejuice, the sequel to obviously the original Beetlejuice movie. And so I think that's might be what we're doing, and then we're gonna probably takes us to the middle of September. Um, we're probably gonna start rolling into some spooky
Hell,
stuff,
this is the
man.
middle of September. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we are. We're gonna start rolling probably into some spooky stuff. If there's anything specific you want us to talk about, by all means, hopsgeeknews@gmail.com. Jump in there. You can jump in our Discord, which if you follow the link tree, take you to the Discord, come hang out, have fun with us, Facebook group. However you do it, man. I don't care. Hop on in there. That's how we're gonna do it. Cantina hours. Maybe we'll talk some Agatha spoilers, things like that, some other things. Go ahead, go listen to our James Earl Jones and Friday the 13th episode. It's all out there. Make sure you always like, subscribe, share, follow, all of the good stuff. Hit that notification button, and then you can find us on nerdinitiative.com every single Wednesday talking about the latest comic books that are dropping on the shelves. I need to get back into some interviews here soon. And then Hopsky booze for Haley, man. Come run for a good cause with us. Come donate to a good cause with us. And let's spread some positivity into the world. And until next time, we will see you all very, very soon, I promise. Cheers.